acknowledge me, the one.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Kick It to Scoops. I'm your host, Scoops, the sole admin of Scoops. This show is going to be explosive. When I tell you that Scoop Show's Bang is going to be the most explosive ever Scoop Show's Bang of all time, or definitely of recent memory at least, when I tell you it's going to be a big one, I tell you it's going to be a massive Scoop Show's Bang. Team of the week, Supercoach Talk, the whole shebang will be on this show. But again, like the most recent weeks, I will not be on here alone. Please welcome back, Kayla. Welcome.
Hey, Scoops. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Oh, man. What up, Saints? Far out. Brisbane, what the flip? Oh, God. Since you've been on here, it started, odd trend for you with Brisbane. St Kilda's always been all over the place. But for you, with Brisbane, since you come on, it's been we got the win, we move along. Gee, we should have lost to Essendon. Then you had the other game, and then this one is just like, wow.
Yeah.
It's just how are you feeling with Brisbane at the moment?
I don't even know, to be honest. I think we're just going on a downward spiral this present time. But I reckon this week we've got our hands full, that's for sure. But for some reason, I have noticed that we play all right against like the top teams. I know we lost to Crows, so whoever's going to come at me about Crows, but Geelong, we did beat them at the start of the year at the Gabba, and we'll be playing them with Bailey Smith again. But if Dunks and Bez get him out of the game, then it would be great.
It would be great. And, I didn't mention this to you off stream that was going to be for Scoops' Bang. I just thought I'd bring it up now. What are your thoughts on Geelong trying to go all NFL on Brisbane and all American college football or some rubbish about this white T-shirt crap, trying to intimidate Brisbane with handing out T-shirts to everyone there?
I found it hilarious, actually, because it's actually going to show our colours better. So the whole stadium might be white, but you're going to see the red, like the maroon, blue, and gold.
Oh yeah.
So it's just gonna wash Geelong out, and you'll find there's a lot of Brisbane supporters going to be there as well, because we obviously have a pretty alright fan base in Melbourne. So yeah,
for sure. It's let's just say I hope that comes to backfire on them. I don't like them anyway. I mean, it's well known. Everyone says I don't like them when I make it clear I don't. But it'll be nice to see them lose colour, and they'll be white out. The white out.
Yep.
When you what's that text that you call when you white out something? Yeah. Hopefully that's out this week. Hopefully that's out this week. Let's hope, and let's hope you get the W again against Geelong. Now, did you just tease what Scoop Show's Bang was going to be? And people are probably wondering now, come on, get to the point. What is it going to be? You just have to wait a few more seconds. That's okay with you all. But yeah, Team of the Week, Supercoach Talk. I'm going to mention my Supercoach Talk because I seem to always forget that. So let's start with that. Now, I've got 1,995, still in the top 6%. Well, I went slightly down from top 5% to top 6%. I went up in the round ranking, but down in the overall ranking, which is a bit frustrating and confusing to go through. Still in the bye rounds, Kayla, which affects Supercoach and everything like that. What do you think of the bye rounds? I mean, it's something I've hated, and now they made it worse this year by extending it like 6-week block of buys instead of 4 or 3.
I think they should just be dividing it and not having such a long period and only certain teams having buys and then others have to wait longer. I feel like, they should be doing it within the 3 weeks and just even it out. Because Brisbane are not till next week. So we've had a long period of playing and not even a single buy, whereas some other teams Collingwood, for instance, had it last week. So it's they had a break. We still have to keep playing until next week.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird. I've never liked buys, period. I don't like any teams having a week off, to be honest. But especially with how it's formatted, and that's a good point you make. It's no matter who the team is, it's someone's getting a freshener maybe in the middle or at the start of that 6-week block, and someone's waiting to the end, and they're 15 rounds in or 16 rounds in by that point. So yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. Now as for Supercoach, I did have the captain score sheet. The Beatrice and Cherry was on like 72 at halftime, finishes on 105, which is not great for captain. And then in the round with top 18, not ideal. Then you have players like Clayton Oliver and Paddy Cripps shit the bed again. The Supercoach and in general, to be honest. And yeah, they stuffed my score up a little bit. But I'm potentially using my last boost. I am not going to reveal to everyone what those trades entail. But let's just say more premiums and money are coming in. So you'll have to wait and find out to next week what that is. But I'm happy, though, where I am at this point to the buy round. This is probably my best year in terms of consistency throughout the buy period. Overall ranking, it's around the same. But during the buy period, I normally struggled in the buy rounds. And I normally would score a few rounds where there's like 1,500, 1,600. But this is the first score under 2,000 all year, I believe. So, I mean, I'm happy with that. And effectively 5 points off is basically 2,000. And in the buy rounds, scoring around this score is pretty good. So, I mean, it is what it is. How the guy that won Team of the Week, by the way, scored the most for the round, right? 2,336 or something. He had Toby Green, who was a late out. He had Sam Walsh, who was out the day before. And he had a rookie who scored 3, and he still managed to win the Team of the round. I don't know how the hell that happens. That guy just tin-arsed it, and he's a very lucky man. 2K richer, or 1K if he doesn't have the gold subscription. Now, Kayla, let's go. Oh, it's time. Oh, it is indeed time for that world famous segment. Scoops goes bang. All right. Kane Cornes, you're back. You're back on this program. Your weekly programming for you, Kane. Maybe you didn't talk so much shit. You wouldn't be appearing on here most weeks. Kane's got this hatred for St Kilda, and he's had it for a while. But randomly, he started hating on Jack Macrae. He had to go with St Kilda for acquiring Jack Macrae, but yet while Jack Macrae was at the Bulldogs, he continued to say nothing. When he was at the Bulldogs, he was a great player at the Bulldogs, according to him, which he was. But now, for some reason, he's shit, according to Kane. Is that because he's at St Kilda and you hate St Kilda? Jack Macrae had great stats at the start of the year. Phenomenal, like Brownlow level stats. He was a top at the contested possessions, clearances, score involvements. The 3 key stats for a midfielder. He was at the top of the food chain, and even for disposals, he was in the top 5, I think, as well. So at the top for all major midfielder stats. Then you kept shagging his performances, saying he made no impact. Then he kept having a lot of meters gained and score involvements and clearances. He kept backing it up for at least 6 weeks in a row. Then he had the punctured lung a few weeks, but you still didn't give him any credit. Then on the weekend, he came back from a punctured lung, which is really hard to come back from, and came back like he never missed a beat. He had 22 disposals. He had like 12 contested possessions, like 6-8 clearances, and a decent amount of meters gained, and 82% disposal efficiency. So all the key major midfielder stats, he was good. But, yeah, we lost bad to the Bulldogs, but he not only had a go at Jack Macrae, he had to go at Zach Jones, who's had a great year, Jimmy Webster, who's had a great lockdown role on guys like Charlie Cameron and co this year. And this is what Kane said on Channel 7, the smug look on his face. And Kane, you're about to get roasted. And this is exactly why.
What can the Saints get out of the rest of the season?
Play the kids, Beck. Play them all. That's what they said they were going to do at the start of the year. Ross Lyon told us 3 or 4 times in articles in February that they're that young and they're excited about that and it's going to take some time. But 10 players over the age of 29 on the weekend. So I want to see the likes of Filippo when he's fit. Garcia, Boxall, Shoalmaker. Let's see Owens get back to his best footy. Let's see Wilson back into the side. Don't worry about playing Jones and Macrae and these older players, Webster. He's got to unleash the kids. He's got to do it now.
All right, just finally, North Melbourne reducing their losing margin.
So, where do I begin, Kane? First of all, nowhere does it say it in the rule book that you have to have less amount of players over the age of 29. It doesn't matter how many you got. It's how they're individually performing. And, of course, you wanted to slag on that. You were waiting for a game with this amount of experienced players playing to rip into us. Now, first time I checked too, Dan Butler was always getting picked. He kicked 4 goals a week prior. Mason Woods had a terrific season when he wasn't injury interrupted. Jack Sinclair was our best player on the weekend. Royal Marshall dominated Tim English in the ruck. They're just some of many names in that 10 list of players that were over the age of 29 or above that played really well. Now, did Zach Jones have a great game this weekend? No, he didn't. The Zach Jones had a great year. He has had games this year where he won us a game against Geelong. He was a key contributor in the games earlier in the season. If you go back to the last game of last year, Zach Jones against his old side Sydney was very good. Brisbane, he was very good last year in the back end of the year. And against Carlton, with a match-saving spoil which Carlton tried to steal after that Higgins goal with 10 seconds to go. They went inside 50, and who smothered it? Zach Jones. And had he not smothered that, that would have laced up, I think it was Charlie Cameron, and he would have had a shot in the siren. But it didn't happen because Zach Jones did well. So he had a great career resurgence in the back end of last year and the start of this year. Jimmy Webster's had a great lockdown role on plenty of guys this year, including Charlie Cameron and other small forwards in the competition. He's beaten at least 4 or 5 off the top of my head. So he's done that. And Jack Macrae, a guy you've slagged all year, who I've just mentioned all his stats and everything like that he's done this year. You take any opportunity to have a swipe at Jack Macrae, and it's starting to piss me off for a whole range of reasons. So it's not an aging. The only guy that doesn't deserve a game that he's over 29 or above at St Kilda right now is Brad Hill. But Ross loves Brad Hill, and he keeps giving him a game. That's a whole nother argument for another day. So 9 of those 10, Kane, absolutely warrant a spot in the side. Zach Jones deserves another chance, and if he does it again this week, then he may go out. But the other 8 are regular best 22 players that will never be dropped, and their form doesn't warrant it to be dropped. Now, something else you mentioned too, you're saying about play the kids. Number one, you've actually got to earn a game. You don't just get handed a game because of your age, what draft pick number you were. You actually got to warrant a spot. So you mentioned names like Matthias Filippo. Well, last time I checked, Kane, when he wasn't injured this year, which he has been for the bulk of this year, he's been playing in the AFL team. So that's a stupid comparison, considering Matthias has played AFL when he's been available. You mentioned Darcy Wilson, the same guy that's played every game in his career from when he was drafted last year, from round 1 last year to 2 rounds ago. And he's only played 1 VFL game. He had the week off last week due to an injury. And this week he played VFL and had 32 disposals, and he'll probably be back in this week. So he's had 1 game in the VFL, and you're acting like he's never been in the side all year. Then you've got Ari Schollmaker, a guy who's had opportunity this year, and he hasn't taken it. And in the VFL, he's been okay, but without being outstanding. Hugh Boxall has played plenty of games this year. He's played like 6 games this year, and he was a late draft pick, and he's been in the side for the majority of the year and always been in the conversation. So that's an invalid argument yet again. And you named Hugo Garcia, a guy who's played more than Hugh Boxall this year, who's had a consistent amount of goes at it, had a spray from Ross mid-year, was dropped the week after, and then was back. And he's back out again. It's just, you don't just hand plays games for the sake of it. And then to top it all off, you didn't mention it in that clip, but you mentioned it on another program. You mentioned the Flying Viking, Alex Taru. You do realise, Kane, this guy was injured into the draft. Prior to the draft, he was injured and St Kilda knew for months that he wasn't going to be playing anytime soon. He wasn't going to come back until like first 4 rounds of the home and away season. So they knew that going in. So he was injured. He came back in the VFL maybe 6 to 8 weeks ago, played a first game on reduced minutes. Then the second game, which was the game he got wrongfully suspended for 4 weeks, which was bullshit. He was playing more minutes and then got that bullshit suspension. So he only came back in the VFL 2 games ago. And the first game back, he wasn't great. So that's why he didn't play against the Bulldogs. But now on the weekend, prior to the bye, he didn't play great. So that's why he didn't get picked for the Bulldogs game. Then on the weekend, he had a great game. And it's been talked about he may make his debut this week. But your opinion, or not even your opinion, your comments on all those players are invalid. Macrae is the one I really hate the most, the way that you rip into him. A guy that's played over 250 games. He's been a bona fide star of not only when he was at the Bulldogs, but to start his career here at the Saints. He has not had 1 bad game this year. He hasn't been amazing in every game, but no one is amazing for every bloody game. His stats back it up that he's had a terrific season, and he will continue to have a great season. And what really, one more thing, Kane, I want to tell you. Oh, that's right, yeah. Oh, yeah. You wanted to reference all these names, right? And you mentioned Mitch Owens, right? You know, the same guy that's played every game this year. You kept saying before in that clip to give Mitch Owens more opportunity to shine and everything like that. He's played every game. What more do you want? You're saying to give him time to shine. He's in the team. He's been good for most of this year, and he's been in every week. What do you mean give him more opportunity? What could they possibly give him? He's in the team. Is he playing in his favoured position? So you're just talking more complete and utter nonsense. Then on top of that, Kane, one more thing. Are you just jealous that Jack Macrae has had more good games in his career than the amount of hours you lasted as a firefighter? And Kane, I suggest you take out the fire because you just got burned. Plain and simple. Done. Kayla, now, we know you're not a big fan of Kane Cornes either. You've seen the clip. There's a little drive by Jack Macrae, like a guy that's been our best player this year probably, and before injury, he was in the top echelon of players for midfielders this year. Why would you have a weird obsession of a guy you praise at the Bulldogs, then magically comes to St Kilda, and basically not for nothing, but a decent pick for us, and he's contributed on the field? Why is he getting brought up into a conversation like that?
I don't know. It seems like because he's also got he doesn't like Bulldogs as well, and because Jack Macrae is from Bulldogs, it's like he's having a dig at him as well because he's an ex-Bulldogs player. So yeah,
it's a weird one.
Like.
Yeah, and one more thing, Kane. I should say. I mean, the Bulldogs banned you. North Melbourne's banned you. I think it's time St Kilda ban you now, because it's quite embarrassing. Because it's funny how St Kilda operate with their things, but I'm surprised they haven't, because he's been slagging on. Now, granted, Kayla, you don't have to glaze every player, and that's what I liked about him in the past, where he would tell you how he sees it, but he's got no facts to back up the Jack Macrae slander that he's keep throwing all year. Like some other players, yeah, some of them had form slumps. I don't agree with him, but whatever. But the Jack Macrae one, I will not tolerate because he hasn't been shit all year. But then he continues to throw him in these conversations of basically saying drop him for Hugo Garcia or someone like that who plays a similar position and is younger. You don't give players the game because of their age. He's just an absolute moron who should be banned from St Kilda, and then eventually he might shut up and might change his tune if he's getting banned by more. But that's what it is. But Channel 7 love it because it gives them engagement because, I mean, let's face it and be real. Who watches Channel 7? Nobody. And the only reason they tune into it now is because Kane's on it, which I suppose is what they wanted in their angle. That's probably why they wanted him on to begin with, because they knew what he does and how he talks and how it creates money, because that's all they've ever cared about, money. Now, I know can't really top that, but I'm going to throw another one at this. Now, the Tassie game, Kayla, Hawthorn and Adelaide in Tassie on a Friday night. I don't know what you think, but this was the worst game of this season. Now, you could argue, well, you could mount a case for North Melbourne West Coast the week prior in Bunbury. That was shocking as well. But for a little bit of different reasons, and they're two bottom sides. So it's like, I mean, they were still shit, but this is worse, and I'm going to tell you why. Now, I had people laughing at me and saying, oh, it's cold. It's cold. I'm pretty sure last time I checked, any game at night at any venue not named Marvel Stadium is out in the open. So technically it's cold everywhere. So what kind of piss poor excuse is that to say that it's cold? And people say it's dewy. I've seen the MCG be dewy. I've seen the Gabba be dewy. I've seen Metricon or Heritage Bank be fucking dewy. I've seen all those Adelaide Oval. They're all been dewy and wet, right? Before. And night games. Doesn't matter what night, but a night game and everything like that. So what kind of excuse is this? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. People going, oh, this game shouldn't be scheduled on a primetime slot. So then what? So they put on a Sunday at 1:10 or a Saturday at 1:10, and then people bitch and complain that the game is on during local footy or local netball or basketball, whatever, cricket. Like, you can't please people. You got a primetime slot. You got 15,000 there. Great. You've only turned up for once. But still, the stadium holds like 18,000. A Friday night, marquee slot, two sides in form. Well, yeah, whatever, but most people think they're in form. So you would think they would front up. Tassie want their own team, and they can't even turn up to this. A Friday night, marquee time slot, 3,000 short of the being sold out. It's not good enough. Kayla, what do you think about, well, the two part of this? What do you think about that game? Do you think it was one of the worst games this year? And what do you think about the arguments, people complaining about, oh, it was low scoring because it was cold and wet? There's been plenty of grounds that have been wet and cold and haven't had scorelines like this.
That's the silliest thing I've ever heard, because not last week, week before, when we were in Adelaide, it was pouring rain. It was cold. It was like cyclone weather in a way, like the winds were that bad, yet the score was a lot better than that game. So people have no leg to stand on with that. And yeah, it was just not a good game. And I didn't see the last part, but I did hear that the Crows got robbed. of that last goal, which I did not see that part, and I'm probably glad I did not see that part.
That's
so
your
there's gonna be a
second
lot of
team.
people. Yeah, yeah, I turned it off when I was getting a bit annoyed. But yeah, people don't have a leg to stand on with that. Everywhere you go, it's going to be cold. Yeah, it's just that time of the year, and when they're out running anyway, it's going to be like they're going to be warm from running. So, and yes, the ground might be a bit wet, but that's pretty normal.
It didn't rain during the game, by the way. Yeah, it didn't rain at all in the game, by the way. It was pre-game or well before. So even more of a no excuse.
They've got no leg to stand on because it rained during the Crows and the Brisbane Lions game, and they still all played all right.
Yeah,
and that was a close game.
Yeah, I mean, inaccuracy, but I just had to find it funny because the debate about Tassie, do they deserve they need a roof for the stadium and that, and I laugh off the back of this game. They're saying this game showed why Tassie needs a roof. I don't think that's if they even get the stadium at this bloody rate. But why does this one game supposedly prove they need a roof? It would be good to have a roof? Probably would. Considering Tassie's always wet, cold, and rain and no one turns up, it'd probably be good to have a roof. But that's not even what they're arguing here. They're arguing because of that game, that warrants a roof because of the standard of that game. They just both played shit. It's got nothing to do with the weather, because if that's the case, get Adelaide Oval a roof, get the G a roof, get Optus Stadium a roof. It's just like, off the back of saying that, I just found that was hilarious and hilariously stupid to say.
Yep.
But, right. So that was the world-famous segment, Scoops is Bang. Now, it is time for that very popular and heavily debated team of the week. Now, Kayla has had a brief look at it. She's telling me off camera that there shouldn't be any Brisbane players, and then thought of a certain player that may or may not feature.
Yeah. One deserves it, but that's about it.
So let's go through that. Scoops, round 14, AFL, team of the week. I just reckon this one's going to be heavily debated more than most weeks. For some reason, well, they're going to wait and find out. From the back line, the pockets, Zach Johnson and Luke McDonald. Full back, Jacob Wiedering. Half back line, the flankers, Jack, Milestone Man Sinclair. And Lockie Whitfield. Centre half back, Toby Pink. Wingers, Max Holmes and Harry Sheasel. Centreman, Luke Davies-Uniacke. Half forward line, the flankers, Logan Morris and Jeremy Cameron. Centre forward, Aaron Cadman. Forward pockets, Jesse Hogan and Lockie Fogarty. Full forward, Mitch Georgiades. Ruck, Tom De Koning. Rovers, Will Setterfield and Caleb Sarong. Interchange, Marcus Winhager is him. Tom McCarthy, Finn Callahan, Andy Brayshaw, and Bailey Dale. The emergencies are Dylan Stevens, Jackson Binns, Bailey Williams, Bailey Smith, and George Hewitt. Now, reasons for these selections. Kayla, it was the round of, we'll start with the forward line, the round of the forwards, wasn't it? Logan Morris kicked 6, Cadman kicks 5 or 6, Hogan kicked 6, Georgiades kicked 7 and could have kicked 10, Jeremy Cameron kicked 6. What the hell was happening this round?
Oh, I don't know, but yeah, Logan was the only forward for us that turned up. If you saw our behinds, it was bad.
Yeah, some Port fans would mount a case for Georgiades 7-3, and a lot of them were sitters. But it is what it is. I mean, can't always be kicking accurately, although it clearly would be pretty convenient and ideal if people could kick straight and then people wouldn't get as worked up over it. But it is what it is. Now, right, so let's keep going through this team. So we've got in the pockets, we've got okay, we'll start in the back line now. So Zach Johnson, he's a third gamer. 29 disposals for a young player. Yes, Essendon got slaughtered by Geelong, but the way you play it and absolutely warrants a spot. Luke McDonald, 27 disposals in a close game against Freo in tough conditions. But maybe if Hawthorn Adelaide or people complaining about the Tassie game actually watch this game, could argue the conditions were worse and the scores were fine. So, funny that. He was very good. Jack Sinclair, game 200. I don't care what people say. St Kilda might have been terrible, but he was not. 30 disposals in his 200th game. His efficiency was really high, around the 80% mark. I mean, the margin probably would have been worse had he not played in the first quarter when we were a bit inaccurate. He was a key part into why we were in the game early on in the game, and he was really good. Toby Pink did a great job on Josh Tracy, who was kept goalless. I don't know how the hell Josh Tracy got coaches' votes, but that just kind of shows how shit the coaches' votes are most of the time when a guy that didn't kick a goal and the job is to kick goals, kick 0 goals, and apparently a spoiler mark at the end of the game got him votes, it seems. Lockie Whitfield around 32 disposals, back to his best. Funny when Lockie actually plays in his position he's best suited in, Adam. So Jacob Wiedering here, 23 disposals for a key defender, like 13 marks. I think that's obviously warranted. Max Holmes had about 36 disposals, back-to-back strong ranks for Max Holmes. Harry Sheasel kicked a goal in 32. He was very good. LDU had around 30 disposals. A lot of impact. And why North Melbourne were fighting, LDU was a key part in that and why he's there. Again, Morris 6, Cadman 5, Cameron 6. That is Jeremy Cameron. Jesse Hogan 6, Georgiades 7, and Lockie Fogarty kicked 3 goals with 17 disposals, was a key part in why the Blues beat the Eagles. Tom DeConing, great in the ruck, destroyed Flynn and Williams, Flynn being the predominant ruck. He had a goal, 22 disposals, and like 30-something hit-outs, so he's warranted. Will Setterfield, I know people are going to come at me for this one, but I don't care. He had a goal, 31 disposals for the Bombers. He was very good. And I'm telling you right now, even when they were shit, Essendon that is, he was very good. If you watch the game, you know how good he was, and he was the sole individual good player for the Bombers. And a goal in 31, a decent amount of clearances, contested possessions, score involvements, and efficiency, disposal efficiency, shows he deserves a spot. Caleb Sarong, 36 disposals. He was best on ground for Freo. Marcus Winhager, people are going to go talking shit again about another Saints player, but again, I'm going to tell you why. When you tag Marcus Bontempelli, who some people think is the best player in the game, kept him to 14 disposals. I mean, he deserves a spot on the team. Simple as that. He kicked a goal himself, had 16 disposals, and quelled the influence of Marcus Bontempelli, which a lot of people haven't done this year when he's played. And Windy has done that. So Windy owns Marcus Bontempelli. Tom McCarthy, a debutant, Kayla, the mid-season draft, the pick 1 in the mid-season draft for the Eagles, albeit had a few kick-outs, 34 disposals, a record-breaking disposal count for an Eagles player on debut. Kayla, it must be pretty impressive. No matter how old you are, you play your first game, and no matter how many kick-outs you had, he had 10, but to still get 34 possessions, pretty freaking impressive.
Yeah, it is.
Absolutely. Finn Callahan, he had 32 disposals against the Brisbane Lions, and it was a key part why they, dare I say it, swarmed the Orange Tsunami late and got the victory. Andy Brayshaw, he was really good, had 31 disposals in a key part for why they beat the Roos. And Bailey Dell had 36 against the Saints off the halfback line. Deserved it. It was really hard to pick the halfbacks this week because Dylan Stevens and Bailey Williams didn't even get to make it. The next mids were Binns, Hewitt, and Bailey Smith. I know people are going to laugh at Bailey Smith not being in, but when you have 41 disposals and you go up 50% and you have 7 turnovers, and when you had guys in the team that done better overall in their positions in the midfield, that's why he is out. And I know that'll be debated, but I don't care. Right. So let's now move on, Kayla, to reviewing the round. What round is it? 14 games. What do you think of the round as a whole overall, Kayla?
Every other game, yep, great. The Lions game, refund. That's all I'm going to say.
Refund. Right.
Yeah.
Right. But, well, I don't really want to talk about the first game, but I'm going to have to. St Kilda 60, Western Bulldogs 132, 72 points. We lost to them by 71 points early in the year. And I said on this program that they should learn from the first time about little key things about certain players. Norton seems to always have the wood on us, but doesn't get a kick all year. And he did it again. 3 goals, I believe he got on the weekend. It's just rinse and repeat. And that's what pissed me off more about this game is like you played them 8 weeks ago, lost by 1 point different, but whatever, the same margin effectively, and you didn't learn and didn't play any better than the first time. In fact, you could argue it was worse. So it's like, why? Now, I want to mention the umpiring in this game. And no way am I saying it cost us because it clearly didn't, but the standard of umpiring this season is a joke. I did have a clip on here. I might have to load it up again because let's just say it was quite laughable about one of the decisions Kayla, that Sam Darcy got for the Bulldogs, and this just does not sit well with me at all. Like you can lose, right? And you can lose because you just lose. But then there's like just some decisions that just make you want to pull your hair out and go like, what for? You know, so now the clip I am referring to in question is going to be up in just a second. But Jack Sinclair's charmed with game. I felt real bad for Sinks. Guy that busts his ass off every week, had a great game, 30 disposals. Ryan Marshall did pretty well on the ruck. But that's about it. And that's really disappointing that you have a great leader in your club, have a great milestone game, and his was shit. Pretty much 90% of the team was shit. And it's really disappointing. I don't think Bulldogs are that good. They're not even in the 8 right now. Yeah, granted. Isn't it funny, though, Kayla, that people said they were a top 4 side and they're still not in the 8? But, no, it is what it is. Look,
top teams.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, they lost to Hawthorn, albeit I don't rate Hawthorn either, but they lost to them. They beat up on us twice, who aren't in the 8 and near the bottom 4, unfortunately, at the moment, somehow. That really annoys me. But now, here is the clip in question. Now, there's plenty of clips I could play, but this is the one I got on footage at the game from my matchday vlog, so that's on my channel if you can go check it out if you just haven't already. This is the clip in question, Kayla, and please logically try being devil's advocate and try and tell me how Sam Darcy got this free when he threw out his opponent, Anthony Hammer Caminiti.
Watch this. Sam Darcy throws his own opponent and got it free. Make that make sense. This is one charity match yet again. Protected just like Geelong. Oh, what a shit. Charity match. That's how they won their premiership. Tainted.
Now, it was very, very small at the start of that clip. Did you see the start of that clip? See that the St Kilda player was thrown to the ground in Caminiti and Bulldogs got the free. So he threw him and he got the 3.
Yeah, but umpires just turn a blind eye.
Yeah, and isn't it funny that well, that just shows the standard of umpiring this year and previous years, absolute garbage. And like players, Cal, I feel like umpires should be dropped. If they umpire shit, they should be dropped. Shouldn't they be treated like a player? If you umpire shit, you play shit, you're out. So why don't if you umpire shit, you're out?
Yeah, I know, but they won't do that.
Yeah. No, of course they won't because, you know, the AFL never admit they're wrong, right? But yeah, and did you see who the person was in the clip that threw Caminiti? Sam Darcy, the new AFL freaking golden child. People talk about Dacos and Bontempelli and whatever, and those two are protected. But gee, Sam Darcy is like the flavour of the month the last few months. Like the absolute glazing from somebody. I don't care if you think he's good and everything like that, you know, but like it's just ridiculous. I think it's laughable. But Bailey Dale was good for the Bulldogs. Bailey Williams was good. Matt Kennedy was good in the late part of the game. But yeah, it is what it is. And yeah, we move on, Kelly, because I don't want to talk about this game ever again. Please and thank you. Right. The next game to go through is the game that was deemed as the worst game of the year. Hawthorn 47, Adelaide 44. What do you put this round down to? I mean, game down to? Is it what I said before? You said you turned it off. Yeah, shit show. I literally got that bored. I actually stopped watching it for bits and pieces. I couldn't handle it. I thought, no, this is shit. And I don't do that, by the way.
It was terrible. And they can't blame the weather. I'm sorry, but yeah. It was cold, yes, but majority of games over the weekend was cold. And even the last few weeks, the games have just been cold or dewy. So they can't blame that. It's just they both just played terribly. And only one could be a winner, I guess.
That's right. And you mentioned that free kicking question at the end. Jack Ginnivan was involved in. Funny that. Nothing against him again. But yeah, this game, look, I don't think there was any major contributors. The stats show that, like, Jarman Impey had 28 disposals. He was the only player that got over 23. So there wasn't many key contributors in this game. Ben Keys played his part. Josh Weddle, I suppose, had a solid game as well. But yeah, no one really stood out for me. And that's literally how I'll summarize it. Boring and shit. Now, this wouldn't have been boring. This was a great game, but not the result Kayla wanted. Brisbane 96, GWS 107. You were there. What do you think? And what do you think?
As soon as Jack Payne went down with his ruptured patella, patella, and then we put Eric Hipwood in the back.
No.
It just went pear-shaped. I don't understand why we moved Eric Hipwood. We could have just put Froggy, like Ryan Lester, in like fullback, like doing Jack Payne's spot, and then just kind of like moved everything around and not made Harris go on, like Harris become Jack Payne, and they just stuffed it up. And then our goal kicking, holy moly, I'm pretty sure, because I turned it off in the last 10 minutes or so because I was like, nah, I'm done. I was getting so mad at the TV because I was at my friend's 30th, and so I was watching it on the TV, and I got so mad. I turned it off, and I was screaming just because I was just so frustrated with our behinds, because I'm pretty sure at the end it was like 18 behinds and 13 goals or something like that, or something like that. And so we could have easily have smashed them if we got our goals right. But
they were like 16-6 or something. Yeah, they were pretty accurate.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah,
we just,
it's very disappointing. And I feel like Eric Hipwood going back wasn't the answer. Ryan Lester's played on guys like Jeremy Cameron in the past, so I don't see why he couldn't have been an option. And I know why they would have put Hipwood there, because Chivas do have a lot of tools at Callum Brown and the two that kick six, Cameron and Cadman. But I feel like they could have, maybe tried it at the end if Leicester and that didn't work. But like as your first backup choice, I don't think that was the right thing. And Sam Day is a guy who is mainly a key forward backup ruck. But I feel like he's at least had experience back in his earlier days at Gold Coast as a backup key defender option, like a pinch hitter. I feel like he may have been more suited because Eric's probably more the vital target up forward. So you're not only taking a vital target option, a forward option, you've now put your best forward, best one playing in there, right? And you've taken your forward line out. So I didn't think that was the right move. Eric's not in the greatest of form at all, and that play doesn't help. But this probably shows, which I would have said to you had we known the teams before this, but why didn't Darcy Gardner play? He had kicked 4, was out with an injury for a week, was available this week. They didn't pick him. They picked Sam Day. But they also could have picked Darcy Gardner on top of Sam Day or just over Sam Day. And that would have been a perfect opportunity to put him back, because he basically is a defender. Played most of his career there.
So I didn't understand the logic in that. And then they ended up taking him out of the VFL side the next day game to rest him for next week, like for this week, for the game.
She'll play now.
So I'm like, why is every other week Darcy is in the team, and then all of a sudden Sam Day's back, so now Sam Day's in the team over Darcy, and we get this injury in our back line which required him. It was just like, why? But I reckon, with our forwards, I'm hoping that, I don't know if you saw the VFL game our Lions play with Will McLaughlin and how he kicked about, I'm pretty sure it was like 6 goals. I feel like they should give him a go. Because yes, he's tall, he's young, yes, but he's good, and he has debuted before. And
he has.
Yeah, I think he would do great in our forward line.
What about your mate Ty Gallop? Do you reckon he might gallop his way back in the team?
I don't know. We put him in and he didn't really do much, and then he got subbed out because he was pretty quiet. So I think, I don't know. I think they should pick Will over Ty for now, and give him a go, and then bring Darcy Gardner back, or even Dodie.
I was going to say Tom Doedee would have to be a good option. He'd plays a key defender, and therefore you can kind of you could hypothetically drop Sam Day, and then you can bring Darcy Gardner back forward where he's been most of this year, and then play Tom as the backline, because he's an intercept defender as well. Or you can rotate a few of the players around. You can move the magnets around and have players that play backline, or in Darcy's case, played the majority of his career there, to that spot. And then you won't have to put Eric Hipwood there, and Hipwood can stay forward with Morris and whoever the inclusion is. Yeah,
because I noticed Dunks at one stage was in the forward line. And I was like, what's going on?
It's an interesting one, isn't it? Sure, for the Giants, though, Finn Callahan was really, really good. Cadman King 6, one of the best game he's had in his career. But one thing I had to laugh, and guess who said it? It was Kane Cornes. He hates North, right? He's made that publicly known as well, hence why he got banned, that he dislikes Harry Sheasel. And he gave another drive-by to Harry Sheasel. I should have mentioned this before. So he was complimenting Aaron Cadman, but I think he was only complimenting Aaron Cadman to suit his hatred for Harry Sheezel. Because you know what he is. Did you see what he said, by the way?
No.
Okay, so what he said. So number one, he hates Harry Sheezel. And number two, he hates North. So here's why. He said Aaron Cameron had the best game of his career. That's a fact, right? Obvious. I mean, you can't do much better than that, right? So he did that. But then he's using off one game. Aaron Cameron was a top or number one draft pick like 3 years ago. And might sound harsh, but it's the truth. He's basically been bang average from then to now until the weekend, right? He had okay games, but nothing like that, right? So he had no standout games until the weekend. So basing it off one game essentially and 3 years of average form to low form. So he said that North Melbourne are going to rue the day they did not take Aaron Cadman, basically shitting on North, basically again. Along the line, like I haven't got the quote in front of me, he's basically shitting on them going, you know, they're going to regret not picking Aaron Cadman. This guy's flying and they're going to embarrass themselves. You know who they got instead of Aaron Cadman besides George Warlaw? They got two players, George Warlaw and Harry Sheezel. I find that very convenient that he's now pumped up a guy out of the blue who finally has one good game in his career, like that level, and he took that opportunity to shit on Harry Sheezel and North Melbourne in the same sentence or same quote. Very funny or hypocritical. Another driver, see? North, St Kilda, Bulldogs. Not so much Bulldogs, that's more just Luke Beveridge, but the Saints and North thing, I don't know, his weird obsession with Jack Macrae and Harry Sheezel, it continues on yet again. But that was the game. I'm glad you probably want me to move on to the next game, so I will. Speaking of Geelong, well, I didn't say Geelong, but anyway, 151 to Essendon 56, 95 points. Now, you can be inexperienced, Kayla. You can have all these injuries. And, you know, St Kilda, for the different reasons I ripped into before, because they were shit, and they were. Essendon have been okay while having all these players. Like, they haven't been good, obviously, but they've been, for the players that got out, like against Brisbane, they almost stole that, right? They had a game not too long ago that they were close in as well. Carlton, that's right. They could have won that game. Then on the weekend, that great effort from the few weeks with those players out, this game just changed. Now, I get it. Carlton are shit at the moment, you know, and lucky to beat bottom teams. Brisbane aren't in the greatest form as you've established in the last month. And yes, Geelong have been all over the place, but more at the top than the bottom. But it's the effort, Kayla. Like, you had the same players playing against Brisbane and Carlton, essentially, the last 2 weeks, and the same players come out this week. And they were bad. There was like no effort. And I mean, if you're an Essendon fan, I would not be happy with this result. And I wouldn't be accepting, we got all these young players or mid-season draftees haven't played a game at the club yet, playing their first 2 games or so. Like, I don't use that as a cop-out. Like, the effort, like even from the experienced players, Zach Merritt, what was he doing? Nick Martin was still all right, but nothing amazing. Like, Will Setterfield was their only decent player, and he's a fringe player. And Zach Johnson, who's in his 3rd game. The rest of them, I don't know why they bothered turning up, because they were shit. And Jeremy Cameron just taking the piss of his 6 goals. Like, it's not that he kicked 6, Caleb. We just mentioned other guys that kicked 6 this round and could have kicked more than that, like Georgiades. But the effort, Kayla, he was kicking goals where, like, he was half-arsing to get the ball. And, like, you know how they, like, he does that little snap around the body and that. Like, he's not even putting in a full 100% kick at it or, like, you know, attack on the footy and stuff. And he's just grabbing it, taking the piss, right foot snaps, dribbling through on the line. No one's standing there. The bounce, you know, you should have coverage there when in the situation where we kick these goals. No one's there. So that's what I mean. Like, the effort is just like, what the hell? And I don't think Cameron was obviously good, but, like, if they played properly, some of those would have easily been stopped. So the effort there, I feel like, I don't know what you think, the effort was non-existent, and the margin showed that.
Yeah. No, I agree.
You know, you can show effort and still get pumped. But when you show no effort and you get thumped, that's a big double whammy for me. That just looks poor. And that's what they were, absolutely poor. Now, this game, I like this game. North Melbourne 67, Freo 73. North lose to Freo by 6 points in the wet. And would you look at that? We have a good game in the wet. Cold. Pouring rain, actually, for parts of that game. That game was good. What's Tassie's excuse? But yeah, they were good. North were really good. This is the competitiveness. Prior to you coming on, I'd been ripping in the North hard for being non-competitive, and they were. Again, you can lose and be competitive. It's the way you go about it. They've been non-existent, lazy, everything, and they were. Since then, about a few weeks before you come on, they've been really good since then. in terms of the effort. Like, they've been in the games. Sure, they've lost some games. They beat West Coast just. Lucky, by the way. And some other games. Like this week, they could have won. Zurha and Larky, some games in the last month, they could have won had they kicked accurately in the last quarter, but they didn't. So they're just so close. In this game, they had Freo, they held them on the whatever, and they almost had them. Again, Carla, they just fall so short again. And they had some opportunities late to win the game. Caleb Daniel could have got a free at the end of the game. For North fan, I'd be pissed. It's funny, right? Players duck their entire career. They get free kicks. Caleb Daniel does it. And warranted, I think it shouldn't be free at all. But they pay him, right? He ducks his head or goes to grab the ball, hit in the head, 10 seconds or 5 seconds to go, 40 odd meters out on the slide angle for a right foot on the left side. No free. They lose. It must be painful. Thank God I don't have to experience it, but it must be a painful watch being a North fan, Kayla.
Yeah. My auntie's a North fan, and yeah, it is quite painful.
Yeah, I mean, here you are whinging about Brisbane season, and just think of North for a little bit. It might make you feel better.
I don't know.
Oh, serious? Really?
Mm.
You had that level of pain like a North fan would. You won the premiership last year. You're still in the top 8, top 4.
Yeah, for how long at this rate? I don't know.
There's not many teams good anyway at the moment, so I don't think you have to worry about that. But we'll see. But yeah, this game was good though. Andy Brayshaw, Caleb Sarong, Patrick Voss kicked 3 was good. Jordan Clark was okay. But LDU, Luke Davis-Uniacke, Harry Sheasel, Dylan Stevens, Toby Pink, Luke McDonald. A lot of good players for North. So this is where the effort was there this week. And they got warranted in my team of the week. Most of those guys I just mentioned made the team of the week. If not, we're just outside. So it is what it is. I thought they were all right. But again, unfortunately for them, they couldn't get the job done at all. The next game, Keller, to go through was the 2 Sunday games. So Port Adelaide 93, Melbourne 68. Port Adelaide by 25 points. People bring up Melbourne's inaccuracy. And this game, it was a bit more warranted. But Port, again, Melbourne fans weren't giving Saints credit for their big win, a good win. Port were the far better side. Not when I say far better, I don't mean like they should have won by 50, 60 points, but they were the better side. Like you could just see they'll always step ahead. The credit Melbourne fans are not giving Port, I think, is ridiculous. For this game, Caleb, Port, are they back in terms of a top 8 spot? But considering no one is taking that spot at the moment, it's like domino effect keeps changing all the time.
Nah, I don't reckon Port are back. I'm just going to say that though because we're versing them next week. So I'll just say no. Nah, I'm kidding.
Reverse psychology.
But, Port are good at home, especially like with their Never Tear Us Apart song at the start, and then that kind of like makes like the opposition teams kind of feel a bit nervous. So it puts them off a lot. But yeah, Port are pretty good at home.
Yeah, I thought they're 2 rucks, Kayla. They're inexperienced rucks, Vizentini and Sweet. Well, Sweet's a bit more experienced, but he's not that good, let's be real, and so is Vizentini. But they both played well, to their credit. They beat Max Gordon in the first quarter and a bit. Then Gordon did what Gordon does and took over. But I thought they weren't terrible in the ruck. They weren't great in the second half. They were terrible in the second half, but average. First half, they were good. Second half, they were average, and Gordon did it to a lot of ruckmen, especially fringe ruckmen like those 2. But Butters and Rosie and Bergman were some of their better players for Melbourne. There was no key sense. Now, when we get to the next final game for the round, we're talking in second. But Clayton Oliver, his form, Kayla, I know someone's going to say this is ridiculous, or plenty might. Some might agree with me. You know how they say some players are untouchable in terms of being dropped, like your captains, your leaders, and everything like that. Clayton Oliver's had his situations happen throughout the year and last year, right? Injuries, form, and reasons he's been out. Does it get to a point where his form's just not cutting it? They've tried to change his role a little bit. He's been tagging a little bit. Didn't do well on the weekend tagging at all on Rosie, I think it was. So does he need to be dropped? Or is that a bit too much? Because I don't like that certain players get kept in the team off their name, basically, and his previous history. Great player in his career. But I think maybe the week off or being dropped could help him because I feel like he's all over the place. They got the bye this week, so maybe they might reset him. But does he get to a point where he should be considered to be dropped?
See, that's a tricky one with Clayton because he had a really good game against us not
He
long
did,
ago.
yeah.
So he is doing all right. It's just he's having his good and bad days. But if he's still going through like that mental health sort of side of things, I guess that is a major part in why he's playing not so good. But yeah, no, I don't think dropping him at the moment would be the way to go, because I feel like he'd go through a downward spiral, especially if he's still going through what he was going through. But I did see, like, I don't know if it was this week or last week, about Max Gawn and
Stephen May. Yeah, we didn't mention that.
Yeah.
What'd you think of that?
And what they said.
Yeah.
Stephen May was like being like really rude to his captain, and I was like, what the hell? Like,
but then again, Gawn, so this is where we might disagree a little bit. Now, Stephen May's a hothead. There's no questioning that. That's obvious, right? And because I feel like he's a little bit different to some other players, but I think, yes, he does go over the top 2 times, but I think he cares a lot more than some players in terms of that's why he's so aggressive. Yes, there's ways to go about it and to tone it down. And yes, he was wrong for getting aggressive at Gawn, not because he's a captain, just for the fact he was getting roasted. But then again, Gawn shoved him as well. And I mean, it doesn't take much to piss Stephen May off. But then Gawn shouldn't have shoved him either. And Gawn did admit in the end he shouldn't have done that, and so he shouldn't. But like, do you see what I mean? Like, Gawn didn't help himself by shoving him, and then made him help himself by ripping into him the moment that happened. But then again, you can't suck up to him and say, "Oh, don't worry about it." Like, there might be a better way they could have gone about it, but like also a way of like saying, "Oh, don't worry about it." Like, you got to be honest truths as well, because Gawn's kick did cost Melbourne the game against Collingwood in a way.
Yeah, I honestly think there's something going on in the Melbourne camp at the moment.
There has been for a while.
Yeah,
it has been.
But I think it's not looking good.
No. West Coast 52, Carlton 86, Carlton by 34 points. This game was done in the first quarter. They're up by like 36 points. To Eagles' credit, they actually statistically, Kayla, won the game after quarter time. I think they won by like 3 points or something. So, see, this is the effort I'm talking about. It's just a shame for them that they were, to quote Andrew McWalter, pathetic in the first quarter. Rubbish, in fact, he said. So, and that's the truth that they need to say a lot more. I'm sick of coaches making excuses, going, "Oh, well, it's all right. We did this. We won this contested game. We just didn't execute on this." Like, all that bullshit. I hate the stuff they say, whether it's true or not. But it's just like they refuse to acknowledge they were shit. They don't have to say they were shit. They don't have to say what McWalter said at the quarter time when he got interviewed at the game. Like, I love that. Say what you really think to the public. Stop sugarcoating it. They may say it to the players behind closed doors, but like this bullshit of them, glazing, like some coaches, they lose by 80 points and they try and publicly say a positive at the game. Like, you lose by that much, you probably got no positives. So I like that McWalter in that moment ripped into his team on TV, on Fox, and said we were rubbish, shit, and embarrassing, along those words. So it's like, good, I love it. And they responded. They were the better team after quarter time. So for Carlton, they're an inexperienced side. West Coast, they're young, so you kind of expect it, but still don't excuse it. But Carlton, you're happy you get the win, Caleb, but are you really happy? After quarter time, you just either they threw the towel in and didn't give a shit, or this just proved they're simply not that good. Granted, the first quarter was amazing, but the rest, they were shit after that.
Yeah, I don't even think Dan Gorringe was that excited. I didn't see many videos after. I didn't see many videos after them winning. He never said they were back, that's for sure. I mean, they played a really easy team, so yeah. Yeah,
they did. But anyway, this is what it is. Right, let's wrap this up with previewing the round 15 games. Congratulations to Taiwo Dua for the Eagles, who won the Rising Star nominee for round 14. Zach Johnson, pretty stiff, 29 off the back line. No kick-outs for him and couldn't get it. He was chipped. But then Dua had 27, so it's like, bit of a line ball call, but I'd be pissed if I was Zach Johnson. Now, let's preview the round 15 games, Colour, to wrap us up. So the first game, we've got to mention too, the teams with the buys this week include, what the hell? Don't know what happened here, but yeah, they include Melbourne. I've lost the freaking page. I'm going to have to get it up again. But Melbourne have the bye this week, along with 3 other teams, and they include Hawthorn, Melbourne, West Coast, and the Crows. They are who have the bye this week. So, Kayla, let's start with Thursday night, shall I say, at Optus Stadium, 8:10 p.m. Victorian time at Optus Stadium. It's Freo hosting the Bombers. Who you got here?
Oh, Freo, 100% by about 25, I reckon. I reckon Bombers will come back, but yeah, I don't think it'll be a slaughter.
Yeah, I think exactly like that, but I'll go the other way. I think they'll start good and then fade out at the end. So I want to go Freo by 18. I'll go Freo by 18 at Optus Stadium. Friday night at GMHBA, 7:40 p.m. Victorian time. Kayla says she's not going. I wonder why. It's not nothing to do with them losing, is it? It is Geelong and Brisbane.
Oh, Brisbane, 100%. I don't even care if we lose or not. Just Brisbane. I'm never going to back not Brisbane. But I'll go by I reckon it'll be very close no matter what. Because obviously we beat them at the start of this year and whatnot. So I'll say by at least, I reckon maybe even, let's go like 3 points because we're very known as points.
No, yeah, you love the points of the Brisbane, the behinds. Right, I'll go Brisbane by 2 points. Hopefully I can get the chocolates and those white T-shirts will be gone and crying all the way outside GMHBA Stadium. The next game to go through, Kayla, on Saturday, 1:20 at the MCG, we have Carlton and North Melbourne. Who you got? It's an interesting one, I feel.
Yeah, I'm still going to go Carlton, though, by, I reckon, 6 points. I reckon it'll be close. But, yeah, Carlton.
I'll go safe. Unfortunately, I'm going to go Carlton by 12. But I'm going to say this right now on this channel. This ain't no definite win for Carlton, that's for sure. If North play like they did against Freo, they could win this, and they probably would. But a new day, a new week, new opposition. So I'll go Carlton by 12. Port Adelaide and Sydney at the Adelaide Oval, 4:15 Victorian time. Kayla, who you got here?
I got Port by 12.
Yep, as do I. I got Port by 10. Now, Saturday night, Marvel Stadium, 7:35 p.m. Victorian time. It's the Pies hosting my Saints at Marvel Stadium. Get it over with, Kayla. Get it over with, please.
Yeah, look, as much as I don't like the Pies, it will be the Pies.
No.
But I really hope Saints do beat them because I do know that Saints can, when they want to, play good against top teams like they did last year. But I'll say Pies by 24 points.
Yeah, I've only tipped against St Kilda once this year, and it was against Brisbane. And it's going to be the second time now because I'm tipping Collingwood by 30 points. But I hope I'm wrong because then I'll be happy either way. Now, the two Sunday games. First game, 1:10 at NG Stadium up on the Gold Coast. It's the Giants hosting Kayla's other favourite side, Gold Coast.
I'm going to go Gold Coast because they had a bye last week. So they had a refresher. So I'm going to go Gold Coast by 12.
Very good. I'm going to go GWS by 12. Then we'll see who's right. And the last game of the round is at Marvel Stadium. It's 3:20 at Marvel. Western Bulldogs hosting Richmond. Who you got here?
Oh, Bulldogs by, I reckon, 70 points.
70 points. Interesting. I'm going to go Bulldogs by 50 points. Hopefully they lose that because that would be absolutely hilarious. But yeah. So my final thoughts are simply this. If you know any AFL, AFLW players, any up-and-coming draftees or any state league players, and you would like to see them on the podcast in a Golking Challenge and or interview, please do send me a message or try and get something sorted. Check out any of my most recent videos, interviews, Golking Challenges. Some will be coming up shortly throughout this week and next week and coming weeks. Any of the matchday vlogs, Golking Challenges, everything like that. Kayla, any final words that you have for this evening?
No, just hopefully next week the tipping is going to be good and hopefully the top teams get beaten. So for the Lions, they can go back to second place and Collingwood will just continue staying first.
Yes, they will. Well, I mean, I think if they still lose, they still be on top. But anyway, it's whatever. Kayla, it's been a pleasure having you on again. Hopefully my Saints can get the win. Hopefully Geelong will lose, and then it'll be a great week. Thanks for coming on again.
Thanks, Scoops.
No worries.